As I had written, I had understood it. I wrote, one of the lines I wrote was, the Exodus motif is one of the most influential stories in the Bible. That's what I wrote. And I was a little bit kind of afraid. I didn't know this was a very respected professor. And I was thinking, wow, how's he going to treat that statement? And when I got my paper back, he crossed off one of. The most influential story in the whole of the Bible. And I thought, wow, that's what I felt, that's what I thought, but I was simply too afraid to say it. But he did it for me. It is the most influential story of the Bible. And I'm to this day, if, new believers, my desire would always be, teach them the Exodus. Take them through the Exodus, and then everything else makes sense. Everything else falls into place. Take them through the Exodus. I'm not saying the Gospels aren't bad. I'm not saying Jesus isn't bad. I'm not saying doctrines of salvation aren't bad. I'm saying teach them the Exodus first, okay? And then from there we can step out, and things will make so much more sense. The three major feasts of Israel are based on what? They're based on the Exodus. Pesach, the Passover. This is the deliverance. Then we have 7 weeks from there, we have Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks, the giving of the law. That's celebrated right there. Then we have the season we're in now. We have Tabernacles. We have Sukkot. Again, that is a call to remember the time the Israelites were in the desert and they dwelt in booths. These three feasts are very important. They're called the Regalim. Regalim, which means they're three pilgrimage feasts that men have to make. They have to go up 3 times a year to present themselves, to show themselves in Jerusalem to celebrate these feasts. And I want to take a quick side detour here. That's a very important thing that they're doing, that they're being asked to do, to present themselves. I start talking quickly when I'm getting excited, so I have to calm down. Let me calm down now. It's a very important thing that they have to do. And I was just, as I was sitting down there, I looked up, there's this passage here. It affects you too, I think, as well. This is a passage I picked up, Deuteronomy 14:22. You shall truly tithe all the increase of your grain that the field produces year by year. And you shall eat before the Lord your God in the place where he chooses to make his name abide. That's Jerusalem. The tithe of your grain and your new wine and of your oil, of your firstborn, of the herds and of your flocks, that you may learn to fear the Lord your God always. I'm not preaching prosperity here, by the way. But if the journey is too long for you, so that you're not able to carry the tithe, or if the place where the Lord your God chooses to put your name is too far from you, when the Lord your God has blessed you, then you shall exchange it for money. Take the money in your hand and go to the place which the Lord your God chooses. And you shall spend the money for whatever your heart desires, for oxen or sheep, for wine or similar drink. For whatever your heart desires, you shall eat there before the Lord your God, and you shall rejoice, you and your household. I bring this text up because it's one of the things which the Regalim, they have to do the Regalim. So if you live in Israel and you live in Haifa, 3 times a year, you have to come up to Jerusalem to celebrate these things. You have to bring your tithe up as well. Now, if your tithe is perishable, you sell whatever you have, and you take your money, and you go to Jerusalem, and you celebrate. Why? Because you're helping the Jerusalem economy. You are feeding into the Jerusalem economy. And this is really, really important. You're feeding into the temple system. You're feeding into the community, the priests, the Levites, and everybody who's actually there. This is really important because I think it's relevant for you, because when you go to Jerusalem, you think you're going on holiday. But you're kind of fulfilling this command right here. You're taking what you've earned, you're spending money in Jerusalem, and you are feeding into that economy in Jerusalem. And it's a great thing. It's a great thing. Oh yeah, you're going to have a great time, but it's a great thing that you actually do this. It's a form of pilgrimage. It's a form of paying back if you like, in that sense. So back to where I was.